Welcome to the Continuous Improvement Lab, Season 5, Episode 33. This season, we're all about having a thoughtful debate, and today, we're jumping right into a huge part of any great management operations system, the actual metrics that power your team's performance.
It is absolutely incredible to see this community growing. I just want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to our listeners in 42 different countries. Now, I have a quick favor to ask. We've noticed that less than 25% of you are actually subscribed or following. If you could take just 1 second to hit that button and maybe share this with a few friends, it helps us out so much with the streaming algorithm so we can keep bringing you these kinds of business insights.
And just a quick reminder, everything we're talking about today really complements our business playbooks, Shift Happens, and the newly released Culture by Design, Power by Discipline, Volume 1. You can find both of them on Amazon and other online bookstores in the US, the UK, Canada, Europe, Japan, and Australia. Okay, so let's get into it. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Your team is just in constant firefighting mode, right? You're always reacting to missed targets and customer complaints, but only after they've already happened. It's this super frustrating cycle. And honestly, it often comes down to one simple thing: what you're actually measuring. So here's how we're going to break down that cycle today. First, we'll take a look in the rearview mirror at traditional metrics. Then we're going to shift our focus to the view ahead with more predictive ones. From there, we'll talk about building the complete dashboard, see it in action with a case study on Orion's proactive shift, and wrap up by looking at the broader industry-wide trend. All right, first up, let's talk about that rearview mirror. This is really where most companies spend their time, focusing on what we call lagging indicators. So a lagging indicator is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It measures past results. It's all historical data. The best way to think about it is like the final score of a game. It tells you for sure if you won or lost, but you can't use it to change the outcome while you're still on the field. It confirms a trend, sure, but it's not going to predict the future. And you see these things everywhere, right? Weekly production output, monthly defect rates, final quality scores. All of these are important for reviewing what happened, but they all share the same fundamental weakness. They only tell you what has already gone down.
So if lagging indicators are the rearview mirror, then what are the headlights? Well, that brings us to the real power of leading indicators.
Now, a leading indicator is totally different. It's a predictive metric. Think of it like an early warning signal. This is what allows you to actually influence outcomes before they turn into those final unchangeable results. This is what empowers your team to be proactive, not just reactive. Just look at these examples. You're tracking plan versus actual by the hour, not just at the end of the week. You're monitoring equipment downtime trends so you can predict failures before they happen. You're watching real-time engagement on an ad, not just waiting for the final sales numbers. See the difference? These metrics are about the process, not just the outcome, and that gives you the power to adjust on the fly. And this brings us to a really crucial point. A lot of people try to frame this as some kind of debate, lagging versus leading, but honestly, that's completely the wrong way to think about it. The real power is when you put them together. I mean, look at this side-by-side comparison. Lagging indicators, they're reactive. They just confirm what happened. Leading indicators, they're proactive, and they help you influence what will happen. When you see it like this, it becomes so obvious that you need both to get the full picture. So, here's the bottom line. You wouldn't drive a car by only looking in the rearview mirror, right? But you also wouldn't drive by only looking at what your headlights are showing you. You need both to get where you're going safely and effectively. The goal isn't to choose a side, it's to build a complete dashboard for your team. So, what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's take a look at a case study from a company called Orion Components. They are a perfect example of this proactive shift in action. Orion was stuck in that classic reactive loop we talked about. They were living by their weekly output and monthly defect reports. And as the case study says, this meant they were constantly just reacting to problems. The result? Expensive overtime and really unhappy customers. They were driving entirely with their eyes on the rearview mirror. So they made 3 key changes. First, they started tracking leading indicators, things like plan versus actual by the hour. Second, they started doing daily team huddles to actually talk about this real-time data. And third, they put it all up on a big public dashboard right on the production floor so everyone could see it. It sounds simple, but wow, was it powerful. And the results? They were almost immediate. In just 3 months, they saw a 15% improvement in schedule adherence. Why? Because they were finally catching small deviations early. Next up, they saw a 12% drop in production bottlenecks. Those new leading indicators give them early warnings about capacity issues, which let them manage the workflow proactively instead of reactively.
And finally, a 9% decline in quality defects. They could now spot early signals, like a rise in scrap material, and fix the root cause right away, instead of just waiting for a terrible report at the end of the month. See? They built a complete dashboard, and it totally transformed their operations.
Now, this isn't just a one-off story about a single company. This balanced approach is a proven, powerful trend that we're seeing work across so many different industries. In fact, research from big firms like McKinsey and Deloitte totally confirms this. Marketing teams that use leading indicators are seeing a 16% jump in campaign success. Engineering teams are cutting project overruns by 14%. And in supply chain, companies are boosting on-time delivery by a whopping 18%. The data is crystal clear. This stuff works. And it goes even further. The Lean Enterprise Institute found that manufacturers improve their proactive problem solving by 20%. In the service industry, just by monitoring metrics like customer wait times, you can boost satisfaction scores by 12%. This strategy is pretty much universally applicable. So if there's one single thing you should take away from all of this, what is it? It's about making a fundamental shift in your mindset. You have to move your team away from that constant reactive firefighting and towards proactive performance management. Giving them the right data, both leading and lagging, is how you empower them to actually control outcomes, not just report on them after the fact. And that really leaves us with one final question for you to think about. What are the 1 or 2 key leading indicators that could absolutely transform your team's performance? For more information on how you can implement this in your own organization, please feel free to reach out through our website at karassinnovations.com. And don't forget to check out our other podcast, The Systems Thinker Show, and our YouTube channel at Karas Innovations Group. A special thanks, as always, to our executive producer and founder, Linear Johnson. Thanks for tuning in to the Continuous Improvement Lab.